A hot dog seems simple. Meat, casing, bun, what could go wrong? For seniors, plenty. From brands caught packing nitrates that spike blood pressure to contaminated meat traced back to listeria outbreaks, the dangers are coiled inside every link. Today, we're exposing 9 hot dog brands you should avoid at all costs, and the 2 that are actually worth your trust and your health. Coming in at number 9, Bar S Foods, the budget-friendly name promising affordability and classic taste. Walk into any grocery store, and there it sits on the bottom shelf. Bright yellow packaging with red letters screaming value. But what they don't advertise is the sodium nightmare packed into every bite. Each link contains over 500 milligrams of sodium, nearly a third of the daily limit for seniors managing high blood pressure. FDA inspections have flagged multiple Bar S facilities for unsanitary conditions. We're talking rust on processing equipment where meat touches metal, pooling water on floors where bacteria thrive and multiply. This is not one isolated incident. This is pattern. According to federal inspection reports from 2023 and 2024, Bar S received multiple citations for failing to maintain basic food safety standards. Seniors on heart medications like beta blockers, ACE inhibitors, or diuretics need consistent sodium levels throughout the day. Your cardiologist carefully calibrates your dosage based on stable sodium intake. One Bar S hot dog, with its 500+ milligram sodium load, can throw off your entire day's balance. Your ankles might swell, your blood pressure might spike, you might feel dizzy or confused, and you won't know why because you just ate what you thought was a harmless lunch. The pink, glistening meat promises a backyard classic. The smell when you open the package is familiar, almost comforting. But behind the scenes, inspectors found something that should make your stomach turn. Metal shavings. Tiny fragments of stainless steel embedded in production batches. The company recalled thousands of pounds of product after customer complaints started flooding in. People finding foreign objects in their food, sharp pieces that could lodge in your throat, puncture your esophagus, or worse. For seniors with dentures or sensitive digestion, biting into metal fragments is not just unpleasant, it is dangerous. Dentures can crack, natural teeth can chip. Your digestive tract is not designed to process metal. The label says all-American tradition, pictures of families gathered around grills, smiling children. Reality tells a story of neglect, shortcuts, and a company that values profit over your safety. Your taste buds might not notice the contamination buried in all that salt and preservatives, but your body will. And by then, the damage might already be done. At number 8, we have Oscar Mayer Classic Wieners, the name that built childhoods, the brand trusted for generations. Oscar Mayer promises nostalgia, quality, and the taste of summer. You remember the jingle from television. You remember opening the refrigerator and seeing that distinctive yellow package. You trusted this brand because your parents trusted it, because it was American as apple pie. Recent lab analysis revealed something parents and grandparents never knew: mechanically separated chicken and pork. Not real cuts of meat, but a slurry created by forcing bones with attached edible tissue through a sieve under high pressure, mixed with sodium nitrite levels far exceeding what European countries allow. In fact, independent testing found sodium nitrite concentrations approaching 200 parts per million in some samples. European Union standards cap it much lower, recognizing the cancer risks. Seniors dealing with kidney disease or taking blood pressure medications should know that sodium nitrite does not just preserve that bright pink color you see. It converts into nitrosamines in the acidic environment of your stomach. These are compounds the World Health Organization classifies as probable human carcinogens. Study after study links nitrosamine exposure to increased colorectal cancer risk. The USDA allows it because the meat industry lobbied hard for decades. That does not mean it's safe for you. It means corporations won billions of dollars worth of arguments. Inspectors visiting Oscar Mayer plants documented improper refrigeration in storage areas. Meat sitting at temperatures between 40 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That's the danger zone where bacteria reproduce fastest. Listeria thrives in those conditions. It does not need much time. Just a few hours of improper temperature and suddenly safe meat becomes a vector for serious illness. For seniors with weakened immune systems, and that includes anyone over 65 or taking immune-suppressing medications, listeria infection is not a minor inconvenience. It can lead to meningitis, blood infections, hospitalization, even death. The CDC estimates that listeria causes approximately 1,600 illnesses and 260 deaths in the United States every year. The bright red color you see when you peel back that package is not freshness. It is chemical preservation masking what your eyes cannot detect, what your nose cannot smell, Oscar Mayer's marketing still shows families laughing at picnics, children running through sprinklers, grandparents presiding over backyard cookouts. The images sell an American dream, but inspection reports paint a different picture. Conveyor belts caked with old meat residue that should have been cleaned hours ago. Cleaning protocols ignored during peak production times because stopping the line costs money. Corners cut in every direction possible. The betrayal is complete and total. What you thought was trusted quality, a brand your family relied on for generations, is actually a health gamble every single time you open the package. You are paying premium prices for mechanically separated slurry pumped full of cancer, causing chemicals and processed in facilities where food safety takes a backseat to production quotas. Now at number 7, Ballpark Franks, sold as the stadium experience in your backyard. Ballpark promises the snap, the flavor, the all-American bite. The packaging shows baseball games and summer nights. The advertising sells you on tradition and quality. But lab tests tell a completely different story, one that should make you think twice before you ever buy this brand again. Independent food testing conducted by university researchers revealed that Ballpark hot dogs contain one of the highest concentrations of sodium and preservatives among all major brands. We're not talking about a small difference. Some links were found exceeding 600 milligrams of sodium per serving. That's 40% of your daily recommended intake in one hot dog. One single hot dog. For seniors managing hypertension or heart disease, that is a recipe for spiking blood pressure within hours of eating. Your body cannot process that much sodium efficiently, especially if your kidneys are already working overtime from age or medication. The excess sodium pulls water into your bloodstream, increasing blood volume, forcing your heart to pump harder. Within 2 to 3 hours, your systolic pressure can jump 10 to 20 points. If you're already borderline, that jump pushes you into dangerous territory. The brand touts natural casing and smoky flavor on every package. What they hide is the use of mechanically separated turkey throughout their product line. This is not whole turkey breast. This is leftover poultry parts. Bones with bits of meat still clinging, pushed through industrial sieves under thousands of pounds of pressure. The result is a paste. A slurry that looks nothing like real meat until they add binders and fillers and enough salt to mask the bland, slightly metallic taste of low-quality protein. FDA inspection records, available through Freedom of Information Act requests, show multiple Ballpark facilities cited for environmental contamination. Condensation dripping from ceilings directly onto production lines. That condensation contains everything from rust particles to airborne bacteria to mold spores. All of it landing on meat destined for your dinner table. It's a perfect breeding ground for salmonella and listeria. Both bacteria thrive in moist environments. Both can survive in processed meat if sanitation fails. Seniors are at highest risk from these pathogens. Your immune system does not respond as quickly or as strongly as it did when you were younger. One contaminated hot dog can lead to severe gastrointestinal distress that lasts days, dehydration that sends you to the emergency room, complications that interact dangerously with blood thinners, diabetes medications, or heart drugs. What starts as a backyard lunch becomes a medical crisis. The sizzle you hear on the grill is real. The smell of smoke and char is authentic, but it hides what you cannot see with your eyes or detect with your nose. Hidden filth, dangerous chemicals, corners cut at every stage of production, all in the name of maximizing profit margins. Ballpark sells you nostalgia wrapped in patriotic packaging. What they actually deliver is hidden danger that accumulates with every bite. Have you ever wondered why the same brands promising family tradition keep appearing on recall lists year after year? It's not bad luck. It's a business model that treats your safety as an acceptable cost of doing business. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It's free, and it means you'll never miss these exposés. Landing at number 6, Hebrew National. Marketed as premium, kosher, and held to a higher standard. Hebrew National built its entire reputation on one central promise: purity, religious oversight, cleaner ingredients than ordinary hot dogs. The label reads like a sacred contract. No fillers, no byproducts, just beef. You pay extra for this promise, sometimes twice as much as competing brands. You pay because you believe you're getting something genuinely better. Federal inspectors found something disturbing during surprise audits conducted between 2022 and 2024. Non-kosher meat mixed into production lines that were supposed to be exclusively kosher. Cross-contamination so severe, it violated not just religious law, but basic labeling regulations. This was not an accident. This was systematic cost-cutting that betrayed the very foundation of the brand's premium positioning. Seniors who trusted this brand for cleaner ingredients, who paid premium prices specifically for kosher certification, were systematically misled. You were getting the same mechanically processed meat found in budget brands. Same questionable trimmings, same chemical preservatives, same corner cutting. The only difference was the price tag and the lie printed on the package. The kosher certification process is supposed to mean something. Rabbinical supervision, stricter slaughter methods, more rigorous processing standards. But inspection records reveal improper labeling throughout Hebrew national facilities, cross-contamination between kosher and non-kosher production lines, equipment not properly cleaned between runs. The religious oversight that justified your extra payment was either absent or ignored. For seniors with dietary restrictions or religious observance, this is not just disappointing. It is a profound betrayal of faith and health. You structured your entire diet around these restrictions. You trusted a company to honor that commitment. They took your money and your faith and gave you lies wrapped in cellophane. Recent testing also uncovered sodium levels approaching 700 milligrams per link. That's nearly half your daily sodium allowance in one hot dog. Particularly dangerous for seniors on diuretics, which are commonly prescribed for high blood pressure and heart failure. Diuretics work by helping your kidneys remove excess sodium and water from your body. But when you flood your system with 700 milligrams of sodium in one meal, you're working against your medication. Your ankles swell, your breathing becomes labored, your heart struggles. Hebrew. National promises quality beef, premium ingredients, higher standards. What they actually deliver is excessive sodium, deliberately misleading labels, and contaminated processing that makes a mockery of every value the brand claims to represent. The snap of the casing when you bite down is real. The beefy aroma when you grill it is authentic. But neither can hide what lab tests and federal inspections reveal. A brand that built decades of trust on foundations made entirely of false promises. At the number 5 spot, Nathan's famous beef franks. The Coney Island legend. The brand synonymous with competitive eating contests and boardwalk summers. Nathan's Famous sells an American dream wrapped in nostalgia. Classic New York flavor. Championship-winning taste. A piece of history with every bite. Behind that carefully constructed branding lies a sodium bomb wrapped in nitrate-laden casing that should terrify anyone concerned about their cardiovascular health. Each Nathan's hot dog contains upwards of 560 milligrams of sodium. But that's not the whole story. The real danger lies in the preservative cocktail they use to keep the meat looking fresh for months of storage and transport. Sodium nitrite, sodium phosphate, sodium erythorbate. Your body was not designed to process this chemical combination, especially when your kidneys are already compromised by age or medication. For seniors taking blood pressure medications like lisinopril, losartan, or amlodipine, this chemical cocktail creates dangerous interactions. Sodium phosphate interferes with how your body processes these medications. Your carefully calibrated prescription suddenly becomes less effective. Your blood pressure spikes. You feel dizzy, disoriented. You might experience headaches that last for hours. In severe cases, you risk stroke or heart attack because your medication cannot do its job properly. FDA records show Nathan's processing facilities have been cited repeatedly for unsanitary conditions that violate basic food safety protocols. Rodent droppings found near packaging areas where finished products are prepared for shipment. Not once. Multiple times across multiple facilities. Employees failing to follow hand-washing protocols after bathroom breaks or between handling raw and cooked meat. These are not minor infractions. These are fundamental failures of sanitation that put every consumer at risk. The famous snap you hear when you bite into a Nathan's Frank is not a sign of quality meat. It's engineered texture, collagen casing injected with water and additional sodium to create that characteristic pop. It's food science masquerading as authentic tradition. Independent lab analysis commissioned by consumer advocacy groups found that Nathan's uses lower-grade beef trimmings, the scraps left over after premium cuts are removed, mixed with textured vegetable protein and other fillers to bulk up the product while cutting costs. Seniors expecting pure beef are getting a medley of additives, binders, mystery proteins, and meat scraps that would never pass muster in a quality butcher shop. The brand promises the taste of tradition, the flavor of New York summers, championship caliber quality. The inspection reality shows systematic neglect, widespread contamination, and a fundamental disregard for consumer safety that would shock anyone who still believes the marketing. Your stomach might not immediately react when you eat one. The damage is cumulative, insidious. Each hot dog adds to your sodium load, your chemical exposure, your cardiovascular stress. Over weeks and months, this accumulation takes its toll. Higher blood pressure that becomes harder to control. Increased stroke risk. Kidney function that slowly declines. By the time you notice the symptoms, the damage is already done. And you never connected it back to those famous Franks you trusted because of a brand name and a boardwalk legacy. Number 4 on our list, Sabrett, the street cart staple, the New York pushcart icon that built its reputation on convenience and authenticity. Sabrett hot dogs are sold as the real deal, the same Franks you'd buy from a vendor in Manhattan. That unmistakable snap, that slightly spicy, garlicky flavor profile. It's marketed as New York in a casing, but recent consumer complaints and detailed FDA reviews paint a much darker picture than the nostalgic branding suggests. Multiple production batches were flagged for improper cooking temperatures during initial processing, internal temperatures that never reached the minimum required to kill dangerous pathogens. We're talking about meat cooked to 130 or 140 degrees Fahrenheit when it needs to hit 165 to be safe. That 20 to 30 degree difference is everything. It's the difference between killing bacteria and letting it survive the entire production process. E. coli and listeria are remarkably resilient bacteria. They can survive in hostile environments, waiting for the right conditions to multiply. When meat is undercooked during processing, these bacteria remain viable throughout storage, transport, and even after you grill the hot dog at home. Unless you're using a food thermometer to verify internal temperature, and most people don't, you're potentially consuming live pathogens with every bite. For seniors with compromised immune systems, and that includes anyone with diabetes, anyone on corticosteroids, anyone recovering from illness or surgery, undercooked or improperly processed meat can lead to severe infections that require hospitalization. E. coli infection causes bloody diarrhea, severe abdominal cramping, dehydration. In severe cases, it leads to kidney failure. Listeria causes fever, muscle aches, confusion, seizures. These are not minor food poisoning cases. These are life-threatening illnesses that disproportionately affect older adults. Sabrett's marketing shows bustling city streets and happy customers enjoying authentic New York flavor. FDA inspection documents reveal a different reality entirely. Conveyor belts with visible meat buildup that should have been cleaned hours earlier. Dried blood and fat residue in crevices where bacteria colonize and multiply. Industrial grinders not properly disassembled and sanitized between production shifts, allowing cross-contamination between batches. Refrigeration units consistently failing temperature checks, meaning meat sits in the danger zone for extended periods before packaging. The sodium content per link hovers near 500 milligrams, standard for the industry, which is to say dangerously high. But Sabrett also uses sodium erythorbutane as a primary preservative. This chemical is designed to prevent spoilage and maintain color. It keeps that meat looking pink and fresh long after it should have turned gray. Your body doesn't need sodium erythorbate. It provides no nutritional value. It exists solely to make questionable meat look appealing. Seniors on restricted diets or managing heart disease should understand that every Sabrett hot dog is processing chemicals while providing minimal actual nutrition. You're consuming sodium, preservatives, questionable meat scraps, and bacteria that survived inadequate cooking. The promise of street cart authenticity comes with very real health risks hidden in every single bite. Risks that accumulate. Risks that your body will eventually make you pay for. Does it not feel like the brands that advertise the loudest about tradition and authenticity are the ones hiding the most behind fancy labels and nostalgic packaging? Coming in at number 3, Johnsonville Better with Cheddar. The indulgent choice. The hot dog that promises something extra. Cheese stuffed inside the meat for added richness and flavor. Johnsonville markets Better with cheddar as a premium taste experience, something beyond ordinary hot dogs. Food science magic that delivers creamy cheese and savory meat in every bite. But comprehensive lab testing reveals a disturbing truth that should make you reconsider ever purchasing this product. The cheese filling is not real cheese. It's processed cheese product, a technical term that means it doesn't meet the legal definition of actual cheese. Instead, it's a mixture of cheese derivatives, emulsifiers, artificial flavoring compounds, and enough sodium to constitute a health hazard all by itself. Each Better with Cheddar Frank contains over 650 milligrams of sodium. Some tested samples exceeded 700 milligrams. That's catastrophic for seniors managing kidney disease or taking medications for heart failure. Your kidneys can only process so much sodium before they start failing to filter your blood properly. When you overwhelm your system with 650 milligrams in one hot dog, you're forcing your kidneys to work overtime. Your body retains fluid. Your legs and feet swell. Your lungs can fill with fluid, making breathing difficult. Your heart has to pump harder against increased resistance. All of this from one cheese-stuffed hot dog. The cheese doesn't melt like natural cheese should. It stays coherent, holding its shape even under high heat. That's because it's held together by chemical emulsifiers designed to withstand temperatures that would break down real cheese. Sodium phosphate, sodium citrate, artificial stabilizers. These chemicals allow the fake cheese to survive the cooking process without separating into oil and protein, but they also mean you're eating synthesized food product instead of actual dairy. FDA inspections of Johnsonville facilities uncovered particularly concerning issues with cheese injection equipment. This is specialized machinery that pumps processed cheese into the center of each hot dog during production. Inspection reports documented residue buildup inside injection nozzles and tubes. Old cheese product accumulating in hard-to-clean areas. This creates perfect bacterial breeding grounds, moisture-rich, nutrient-dense, protected from cleaning chemicals. Listeria particularly loves this kind of environment. It thrives in moisture and doesn't need oxygen. Inside a cheese-filled hot dog casing, protected from heat and preservatives, listeria can multiply to dangerous levels. Seniors face the highest risk from listeria infection. Your immune system cannot mount the aggressive response needed to fight it off. What starts as fever and muscle aches can progress to meningitis, brain infection, sepsis. The mortality rate for listeria in adults over 65 approaches 30%. Independent food safety experts reviewed Johnsonville's sourcing practices and found troubling patterns. Some meat batches came from suppliers with documented histories of listeria violations. Yet Johnsonville continued purchasing from these facilities without implementing additional safety testing. The company prioritized cost savings over consumer safety. They gambled that statistical probability would keep contamination rare enough to avoid major outbreaks. The creamy, melted cheese you taste when you bite into a better with cheddar is masking a reality of chemical construction and careless production standards. The indulgent experience the brand markets is actually a sodium nightmare, wrapped in bacterial risk and fake cheese product. For seniors, every bite is gambling with your kidney function, your cardiovascular health, and your immune system's ability to fight off serious infection. At the number 2 spot, Vienna beef, the Chicago legend. The brand that supposedly defines what a proper hot dog should taste like. Vienna beef has built more than a century of reputation on authentic flavor, old-world recipes, and that distinctive snap of natural casing. It's sold as the gold standard, the hot dog other brands aspire to match. But federal inspection records tell a story that completely contradicts the carefully curated image. Multiple Vienna beef plants were cited for systematic failures to maintain proper refrigeration during both storage and transport. Temperature monitoring logs showed meat sitting at 55 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit for extended periods. Some shipments spent hours at these temperatures before anyone noticed. This is the bacterial danger zone, the sweet spot where pathogens reproduce fastest. Every hour spent at improper temperature exponentially increases bacterial contamination. For seniors, consuming meat that spent hours breeding bacteria can lead to rapid onset food poisoning. Symptoms hit within hours. Severe cramping, violent diarrhea, uncontrollable vomiting. Dehydration follows quickly, especially dangerous for older adults whose fluid balance is already precarious. You can go from feeling fine to needing emergency hospitalization within 6 to 8 hours. Your blood pressure drops. Your kidneys start failing. Your electrolytes become dangerously imbalanced. The brand loudly touts all beef construction. 100% beef, no fillers, premium quality. Lab analysis tells a different story. Heavy use of sodium nitrite concentrations approaching the legal maximum. Sodium phosphate added throughout the product. These are not quality ingredients. These are chemical additives that serve specific purposes. Sodium nitrite preserves that appealing pink color and extends shelf life by inhibiting bacterial growth. Sodium phosphate helps bind water to meat, increasing weight and apparent juiciness while actually adding nothing but chemicals. Seniors taking blood thinners like warfarin or novel anticoagulants face particular danger from sodium phosphate. This chemical interferes with how your kidneys process medications. Your carefully calibrated blood thinner dose suddenly becomes unpredictable. Too little and you risk blood clots and stroke. Your doctor adjusts your medication based on stable dietary patterns. Vienna beef's sodium phosphate throws those calculations into chaos. Customer complaints documented over several years paint a disturbing pattern. People finding gristle, cartilage, and unidentifiable chunks embedded in the meat. Not occasionally, consistently. These are the parts of the animal that should never make it into premium products. Connective tissue, organ fragments, bone chips. Their presence raises serious questions about what exactly Vienna beef grinds into these supposedly premium franks. The company charges premium prices. You pay extra because you believe you're getting superior quality, superior meat, superior processing, superior safety. The inspection reality shows substandard meat processing, dangerous storage practices, chemical additive overload, and enough sodium per link to spike your blood pressure within 2 hours of eating. The snap of the casing is absolutely real. So is the risk hiding inside every Vienna beef hot dog. a risk you're paying premium prices to consume. And the number one brand to avoid Foster Farms corn dogs, the freezer aisle favorite. The quick meal solution when grandkids visit or when you need fast lunch and don't have energy to cook properly. Foster Farms built decades of reputation on convenience and kid-friendly appeal. Bright packaging showing happy children, simple preparation instructions, affordable pricing. What they carefully avoid advertising is the contamination crisis that has plagued their production facilities for years, a crisis that has led to documented outbreaks, hospitalized consumers, and federal investigations. Foster Farms has been directly linked to multiple salmonella outbreaks traced definitively back to specific chicken processing facilities. Between 2013 and 2014 alone, one outbreak infected over 600 people across 29 states. Federal investigators tracked it directly to Foster Farms plants in California. The USDA documented repeated, systematic failures to control bacterial contamination across multiple facilities and multiple years. Inspection reports make for disturbing reading. Fecal matter found on processing equipment that directly contacts meat destined for human consumption, not trace amounts. Visible contamination that should have been caught immediately. Inadequate sanitation between production runs, meaning contamination from one batch spreads to the next. Equipment not properly disassembled for deep cleaning. Drains backing up onto production floors. Every one of these violations represents a failure point where bacteria can contaminate your food. For seniors, salmonella is never just an upset stomach and uncomfortable night. It's a serious medical emergency. Salmonella infection causes high fever, severe abdominal cramping, bloody diarrhea that leads to rapid dehydration. Your body loses fluids faster than you can replace them by drinking. Your electrolytes become dangerously imbalanced. Your kidneys start shutting down. If you're taking medications for diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure, the interaction with severe dehydration can trigger cascading failures across multiple organ systems. Each Foster Farms corn dog contains over 500 milligrams of sodium. The breading, that golden crispy coating that looks so appetizing, is fried in partially hydrogenated oils. These are trans fats, the kind that raise LDL cholesterol while lowering HDL cholesterol. The kind linked directly to increased heart attack and stroke risk. The FDA has recognized trans fats as unsafe and worked to remove them from the food supply. But frozen corn dogs can still contain them because they were manufactured before the ban took full effect. The golden coating promises comfort food nostalgia. Inside that coating is low-grade chicken mixed with textured vegetable protein, sodium caseinate, and enough preservatives to keep it freezer stable for months or even years. Independent testing found that Foster Farms corn dogs regularly contain mechanically separated chicken. This is not chicken breast or thigh meat. This is a slurry created by forcing bones with attached scraps through high-pressure machinery. The result is a paste that includes bone marrow, tiny bone fragments, connective tissue, organ meat, skin, everything ground together into pink slime. Seniors expecting real chicken when they read the label are getting mechanically separated paste masquerading as poultry. You're paying for protein that's been processed beyond recognition. The company has faced multiple class action lawsuits alleging misleading labeling and failure to warn consumers about known contamination risks. These lawsuits uncovered internal documents showing company officials were aware of ongoing salmonella problems but chose to continue production rather than shut down facilities for proper remediation. Foster Farms prioritized profit over public safety. They calculated that the cost of recalls and occasional lawsuits was less than the cost of fixing their systemic contamination problems. Your health was literally part of their cost-benefit analysis, and they decided it was acceptable risk to keep selling contaminated products as long as the lawsuits stayed manageable. Foster Farms corn dogs promise convenient, quick meals. What they actually deliver is bacterial risk wrapped in trans fats and fake chicken, topped with enough sodium to stress your cardiovascular system and enough preservatives to question whether this even qualifies as real food. The convenience is not worth the danger, not even close. The risk of salmonella infection alone should be enough to make you never buy this product again. Add the sodium load, the trans fats, the mechanical separation, the systematic safety failures, and you have the single worst hot dog product on the market today. Why do you think the FDA allows ingredients and processing methods that are banned in Europe and Japan to remain perfectly legal here? It's not because American standards are higher, it's because corporate lobbying ensures profit always comes before protection. Most people never learn which brands are actually safe. They keep buying what's familiar, what's advertised, what their parents bought. But stick around, because we're about to reveal the two brands that actually passed every test, the two you can trust. The first safe option, Applegate Naturals Uncured Beef. Hot dog. Finally, a brand that actually delivers on its promises. Applegate Naturals produces hot dogs without any nitrates or nitrites, those dangerous preservatives that convert to carcinogens in your stomach. Instead, they use only grass-fed beef and natural spices for flavor and preservation. No chemical shortcuts, no questionable additives, just real ingredients processed the way food should be. Third-party testing conducted independently by food safety laboratories confirms zero listeria, zero salmonella, zero contamination in Applegate production facilities. These are not company claims. These are verified results from outside labs with no financial incentive to provide false results. The facilities maintain rigorous sanitation protocols that go beyond minimum federal requirements. Sodium content sits at 330 milligrams per link. That's significantly lower than any conventional brand. Still enough to provide flavor, but not enough to spike your blood pressure or interfere with your medications. For seniors managing hypertension or kidney function, this difference matters enormously. You can actually enjoy a hot dog without gambling with your cardiovascular health. Applegate maintains transparent supply chains. They can trace every ingredient back to its source. Grass-fed cattle from verified farms, spices from known suppliers, processing done in inspected facilities with consistent FDA compliance records. When federal inspectors visit, they find clean equipment, proper temperatures, trained staff following sanitation protocols. The texture is firm, the way hot dogs used to be before cheap fillers took over. The flavor is clean and beefy, not masked by excessive salt and chemical preservatives. The ingredients list reads like actual food: beef, water, sea salt, spices. That's it. No mechanically separated anything, no sodium nitrite, no sodium phosphate, no unpronounceable chemical compounds. For seniors who want to enjoy a hot dog without gambling on their health, Applegate delivers both real quality and real safety in every package. The second safe option, organic prairie. Organic, uncured, grass-fed hot dogs. Certified organic through rigorous USDA verification. Sourced exclusively from grass-fed cattle, raised without antibiotics or hormones. This is not marketing spin. This is independently certified reality. The organic certification process requires extensive documentation, regular inspections, and strict adherence to federal organic standards. Organic prairie hot dogs contain absolutely no synthetic nitrates, no artificial preservatives, no fillers of any kind. What you get is pure grass-fed beef seasoned with organic spices. Independent laboratory testing confirmed zero bacterial contamination and proper refrigeration maintained throughout the entire distribution chain from processing plant to grocery store. Sodium content averages 320 milligrams per link, lower than almost every major brand on the market. This allows seniors to enjoy a hot dog without worrying about blood pressure spikes, kidney stress, or medication interactions. The reduced sodium is not a sacrifice of flavor. It's achieved through quality ingredients that don't need excessive salt to mask poor quality meat. The facilities where Organic Prairie processes their hot dogs maintain impeccable sanitation standards. Federal inspection records show zero violations. Clean equipment, proper temperature controls, trained staff who follow protocols consistently. This is not accidental. This is corporate culture that prioritizes safety over cutting corners to maximize profit. The taste is robust and genuinely beefy. The snap is authentic, coming from natural casing rather than chemical engineering. The peace of mind is complete. Seniors can grill these hot dogs knowing they won't spike blood pressure, won't interact dangerously with heart medications, and won't hide bacterial contamination. This is what safe eating actually looks like when a company decides to prioritize quality over quarterly earnings. The truth about hot dogs in America is profoundly disturbing. 9 major brands hide contamination, excessive sodium, and genuinely dangerous processing behind nostalgic marketing and premium price tags. Bar S puts metal shavings in your meat and calls it tradition. Oscar Mayer breaks generations of childhood trust with nitrite overload and listeria-friendly refrigeration failures. Ballpark lets ceiling condensation drip onto your dinner while selling you stadium dreams. Hebrew National betrays kosher promises with deliberate cross-contamination and non-kosher meat in supposedly pure production lines. Nathan's famous reputation cannot hide rodent droppings near packaging areas and chemical casings designed to fake quality. Sabrett leaves bacteria breeding on unwashed equipment between production shifts. Johnsonville stuffs fake cheese through unsanitary injection equipment while charging premium prices. Vienna beef stores meat at dangerous temperatures for hours while marketing Chicago authenticity. And Foster Farms, the absolute worst offender, tops this list with documented salmonella outbreaks, fecal contamination on processing equipment, and mechanically separated chicken paste disguised as real meat, all while marketing themselves as the convenient family solution. For seniors, these are not abstract concerns or theoretical risks. Every contaminated link represents real danger. Every sodium spike stresses your cardiovascular system. Every bacterial exposure challenges your weakened immune system. You take blood pressure medications, kidney disease treatments, immune suppressants, blood thinners. These contaminated hot dogs interact dangerously with every one of these medications. The backyard cookout becomes a medical emergency waiting to happen. But there is genuine hope in this situation. Applegate Naturals and Organic Prairie prove definitively that hot dogs can be manufactured safely. No nitrates, no contamination, no excessive sodium. Just grass-fed beef, transparent sourcing, and rigorous testing that catches problems before they reach consumers. These brands demonstrate that respecting customer health and respecting customer taste are not mutually exclusive goals. The choice is entirely yours now. You can continue buying brands that systematically betray your trust with every bite. Brands that calculate your health as an acceptable cost of doing business. Or you can demand genuinely better. Read labels carefully. Research inspection reports. Ask questions that make companies uncomfortable. Your health is not negotiable. Your safety should never be treated as a gamble by corporations that prioritize quarterly profits over human lives. The hot dog industry built itself on convenience and manufactured nostalgia. But convenience means absolutely nothing if it lands you in the emergency room with salmonella infection or triggers a hypertensive crisis. Tradition means nothing when that tradition is built on systematic contamination and regulatory capture. You deserve to know exactly what you are eating. You deserve to feel genuinely safe at your own dinner table. These should not be radical demands. These should be basic expectations. Subscribe now to this channel, and if you're watching on TV, tap your remote right now, so you never get blindsided again by hidden dangers in everyday foods. Because the next meal you eat should be chosen with real knowledge, not manipulative marketing. The next hot dog you purchase should be genuinely safe, not just conveniently packaged. And the next brand you trust should earn that trust through transparent practices and verified safety, not through television commercials and celebrity endorsements. Your health matters more than corporate profits. Your safety matters more than their convenience. Make informed choices every single time. Stay vigilant about what enters your body. And remember that the prettiest package and the most expensive price tag often hide the ugliest truth. The brands that shout loudest about quality are frequently the ones working hardest to hide their systematic failures. You have power as a consumer. Use it. Demand transparency. Demand safety. Demand that the food industry treat your health as non-negotiable rather than as an unfortunate cost center on their quarterly earnings reports. Your wallet speaks louder than any regulation. Your purchasing decisions force change faster than any federal investigation. Choose wisely, choose safely, and never trust a brand name over verified inspection records and independent testing results.